As we promised in the first part of our video that we will be providing you with English language that is very specific for job purposes, we will start with the first basic function of job context, and that is introducing yourself, especially at job interviews. How do you start it? You start with your name and then you talk about your educational qualification, and then you also will say what you are looking for or what you aspire to be or what your current focus is on. Now, telling your name is the easiest thing. Just say, my name is Madhavi or I'm Madhavi. And if you say myself Madhavi or this is Madhavi, that is not appropriate. Now, there is a little bit of inappropriate pronunciation in saying my name is Madhavi. You don't make name and is long. You contract it. You make it very short. My name's Madhavi. I'm Madhavi instead of I am Madhavi. And remember, do not use myself Madhavi or this is Madhavi. The second part of the introduction is about your graduation. You say I am a BTech graduate or I am an engineering graduate or I am a BCom graduate. But you remember, always use a before a BTech graduate, a BCom graduate, and not I am BTech graduate. And when you talk about the college you studied, again keep in mind the usage of the article the. You say I studied at Osmania University, but you don't say I studied at the Osmania University. And you can also say I graduated from the Institute of Commerce. And you are not supposed to omit the here. You always say I graduated from the Institute of Commerce. If the name of your college has the article the, you have to use it. And if it doesn't have, do not use it. Why is it important that you need to use these small words a and the wherever they are necessary? And why is it important that you are not supposed to use them when they are not needed? Because it is possible that your interviewer will judge you based on these simple grammar rules. And it is possible that he or the interviewer judges you and says, well, his or her academic record is very good, but he needs to improve in his communication. When you're talking about your graduation, you can also talk about the year in which you graduated. And you can use the same phrase, I graduated in the year. You can say, I graduated in the year 2019. And it is not necessary to say, I completed my BTech if you have already mentioned that you are a BTech graduate. Okay? Now, the third part of the introduction. Here, you will mention what your current focus is on. Now that you are attending the interview, you can say something like, I want to work in a reputed organization and build my skills. Keep it simple. Don't say, I want to work in a decent organization. In case you say words like decent, then it is possible that the interviewer might ask, what according to you is decent? Can you define a decent organization? And so if you say I'm looking for a decent job, I want to take up a decent job, then it is possible that the interviewer want to know what according to you is a decent job. Then you have to come with all the explanation about what kind of remuneration you're looking at and what kind of work conditions and what job role you're looking at, and that is not a very wise way of answering about what your current focus is on. To say that I want to work in a reputed organization is a very safe way, because reputed means something which has a company, an organization which has a good reputation, and it's a very safe way because it's understood that you are appearing for the interview there because you think it's a very reputed organization. Once in a while, an interviewer may ask, tell about yourself. instead of introduce yourself. Now, when you're asked that question, you can actually add a little bit of more information to your name and graduation and from which college you graduated. You can tell a little bit about your family and also which place you are from, that is your hometown. Uh, if you are if you are a postgraduate, you may use this sentence: I graduated from, say, the name of the university or the institute with a master's in biotechnology, the stream of your knowledge, in the year. And if you had worked for some time as a part-time employee, you can also say, I worked part-time at the name of the organization. So these are the phrases which you should keep in mind, and keep in mind the articles, just as we discussed earlier. The sentence should sound like this: I graduated from English and Foreign Language Institute with a master's in literature, and continue the sentence by saying in the year 2000. Now, I'm from Warangal. So you can mention the name of your hometown by saying I'm from Warangal. Remember, again, contracted form or the short form. I moved to Hyderabad for my higher studies. That means you've come to Hyderabad and you've been living here in Hyderabad for your higher studies. So these phrases you can use. You must mention your hometown, and you can also say if you have moved to a different place, then you mention that particular place. And about your family, you can say we are a family of 5 or we are a family of 3. And you can say my parents and my siblings live in Warangal and I live in Hyderabad. You can also say where they live, or you can, and any other detail about your family is not it's not required for you to mention more details about your family. In case you want to say, tell that my father is a government employee, or you can say my father is a private employee. And I know I mentioned my mother is a homemaker. She is a genius in knitting and embroidery. Now, this is a real statement which one of the candidates has actually said when we were interviewing, and one of the interviewers was very impressed because he started to mention, when he talked about his family, he started telling the first person he spoke about was the boy who was being interviewed. The first person he spoke about was his mother. So it's up to you about whom you want to talk in the family and whom you do not want to talk about. So I'm not saying that you should not talk about your father. I'm just sharing an example of what actually impressed one of the interviewers and the board. This boy who actually came to the interview said, my mother is a homemaker, she's a genius in knitting and embroidery. And you can say, if you're talking about your sisters and brothers, you can say my siblings, which include both brothers and sisters, of course. Both my siblings are younger than me. They are studying. Okay, and nobody expects a lot of information about your family. It's up to you how much information you want to give about your family. While telling about your family, if both your parents are employees, then you can say something like this. My father is a government employee, or my father is an employee of a government firm and my mother is an employee of a private firm. Now, if your elder brother or sister or cousin works in the same organization where you have applied for, you can say something like this. My elder brother works here as an HR executive, or my cousin works here as an HR manager or senior manager, operations department. And we will come back with more information on how to answer more questions or more common interview questions like strengths, weaknesses, where do you see yourself 5 years from now, and so on.